Hello everyone and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we're going to get started with scanning. More specifically, we're going to be looking at how to perform a single scan, or we're going to be looking at how to perform a scan on a single target. Alright, so let's get started. Now hopefully you've set up your environment and your penetration testing lab, and hopefully you have a target. In this case I'm going to be using Metasploitable 2, and it is what I recommend for the course. Right, so let's get started. Now you can do this on Windows or on Linux. I'm going to be doing this through Kali Linux because it's more in tune with penetration testing. All right, so I want you to open up a terminal. Okay, let me just open that up. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the font size. All right, so we're scanning for a single target. Now in this case, I'm going to be scanning Metasploitable 2, the Metasploitable 2 virtual machine that is running on my local network. Okay, so if I go to my Metasploitable 2 virtual machine and let me just start it up like so. All right, so I'm going to run the ifconfig command to find the local IP address for the virtual machine so that we can scan it. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter, and there we are. If we look at the inet address, which is the local address on my local area network, it's 192.168.1.107. Now this could be or should be different for you depending on what type of router you're using and what IP ranges you have set up. All right, so I've got the IP now, and we're going to scan it with Nmap. All right, so as we've said before, Nmap is really easy to start up. All we need to do is use the Nmap command, and now we can enter our target. All right, so entering our target with no options or with no commands really, we'll perform a basic scan on the target. All right, so let me show you what I mean. So if I enter the IP address for the Metasploitable 2 virtual machine, which is 192.168.1.107, it'll perform a basic scan. Remember, we're not using any commands or any options here. Okay, so if I just hit enter, it's going to start a scan, and immediately it will return the results. And this is why I was really encouraging you to use Metasploitable 2, because it gives you a very good idea of what a scan is, how it is comprised, and how we can get along with all of this. All right, so that is how to perform a scan on a single target. Right, so the syntax is very simple. Right, we have the nmap command, which starts the nmap, and then which is then followed by our target. Right, now our target could be an IP address, it could be a website, for example. And again, if you do not use any commands or options, it will perform a basic scan. Now let's look at something very, very interesting. Once we have started the scan, it's going to give us some information. So it's going to give us information about the Nmap version, and it's going to give us a timestamp here. So 2018, the 16th of January 2018, and the time. All right. Now, looking at the scan report, it's going to give you the scan report, and it's going to start up with whether or not the host is up, whether or not the IP address is currently up, and the latency connection to the IP address, which, as you can see, is very, very small, which means the connection is very, very good. Now, by default, Nmap will scan for 1,000 ports. Okay, 1,000 of the most common ports. As you can see, it has scanned 977. It has scanned 1,000, and it has returned more than you can see over there. So in terms of the results, it has returned information, and the way it's sorted is firstly from the port, right, and then the state of the port, which can be open, filtered, or closed, right, and the service running on that port. Now, it's very important to understand the different ports in networking and the services that run on these ports. For example, we know that port 21 is the FTP port. We know that port 22 is SSH, and so on and so forth, right? So it's very, very important to know how the information will be sorted and displayed to you. All right, so the port is simply the port number or the protocol, the state of the port, which is again the status of the port, and the service, which is the type of service that is running on the port. All right, so as I've said, a default Nmap scan will check for 1,000 TCP IP ports. All right, and then depending on the results got from the host, The ports can be open, closed, or filtered or unfiltered. Okay, so that is how to perform a scan on a single target. And in the next lecture, we'll be looking at how to perform scans on multiple targets. All right, so I'll see you in the next lecture.